issues, getting in, tapping in with people who are transparent, who I can relate to, that really used to help me, because I was like, shit, what would they do? And then, when I'm listening, they start talking about things that I can relate to, and I'm like, okay, this is how you handled your conflict. So we need conflict resolution. We need to have people who we could basically tap into who's dealing with conflict, not this quote-unquote online, curated lifestyle that everybody is selling us. It's not real. We want the real. So that's one of the reasons why I'm here with this sister, because she's giving you the real, okay? So without any further ado, let's get this interview started. Oh yeah, before I forget, before the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna be interviewed, right, by a lovely goddess, and she'll be dealing with the same thing that we're talking about, relationships, affairs of the heart, our journey and whatnot. This sister is in the audience. Please give it up for her right here. All right? Can you let them know what your channel is so they can follow you?
Yes. My personal page is Pretty Holistic with AW. And then my podcast is named Holistic Conversations with a W.
Yes. Holistic Conversations with a W for the online audience. Please go and check that out. She has some powerful interviews. I believe the last one was with Lizzie Jeff, correct?
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Salute to you. So, first of all, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. It's been a long time coming. Before we begin, I don't want to be under the assumption that everybody knows who you are. So briefly, can you introduce yourself to the family and let them know where you're from? I know you're from Florida.
I'm from Florida.
What part of Florida?
I'm a Florida girl, so I'm from all over Florida, but I'm really from Central Florida.
Okay.
So that's where the realness in it comes. That's where to me, that's where the relatability comes.
That's right.
The Florida girls are a little different, but so what I do is I'm a mentor.
Okay.
What they say, be to other people what you would have needed when you was coming up. That's what I do. I'm a big sister to many, a mother to many. I have a ton of kids. Okay?
Right.
I'm an author, a content creator. So.
No. Okay. All right. Awesome. So I know that Atlanta is like a transient town, right? People come to Atlanta from all corners of the earth, and with that, you have all types of energies out there. Women from different places, and they bring with them their mind states. So often, ever so often, in transient towns, because I'm from New York, that's a transient town as well. Well, it just recently became that. So you have clashes of cultures and whatnot. Being in Atlanta, what would you say would be some of the things that are clashing in terms of people's cultures and whatnot here in this conjunction?
Too many men with money and too many fine women in one place.
Too many men with money and too many fine women in one place.
I've traveled a
Right.
lot. I've never seen a city with as much men with funds and women with buns.
Okay, and is that a recipe for disaster?
Yes. It's a disaster.
Wow.
Because now the women are like, why have one when I can have five? I can
Right.
have 5 men. Each one of them breaking me off.
Right.
One's paying the rent, the lights, one paying the credit card bill. Then the men are like, I got 3 girls with little waist. People
Right.
like, I don't gotta settle down with you for what? It's endless options.
I was
It's
just
too many
gonna
options in one spot.
say that sounds like to me what they call options. So women are exercising their options. So their thing is, if I'm out here in a dating scene, I'm gonna pick, men for each date.
Period. And they can.
And the culture promotes that.
Absolutely. It's
Interesting.
shameless here. That's what's supposed to be here.
All right. I said this about a week ago, the last show that we did. I came out here in 1997, right? And what I realized is Atlanta is the city of no parental guidance. And what I mean is, by show of hands, how many people moved out here to Atlanta with your parents? God said we did. What year was that? Can you close that door, please? What year was that, King?
80.
This is pre-Olympics.
87.
All right, cool. That's when Cosby was strong on the Cosby Show. Post-Olympics in Atlanta, right? Post-frequent in Atlanta, people moved out of here. They moved out here, right? Doing what? Following the dream that they were sold that this was the land of fly women, right? It was in abundance. It was 20 to 1. And then the women found out that this was the land of available men. Okay? So the fact that people move out here and they don't have parental guidance, and then you have a contingency of people who are the college graduates. So they graduate college, the ones that don't go home, they develop families out here. Those are the new families that you see out here. A brother will marry his college sweetheart. They'll set up, they start working and everything. They have a child, and that's the beginning of a family life in Atlanta. So this is almost like a bachelorette and a bachelor town, right? What would you say would be an approach? Like, what would you tell a sister moving to Atlanta, right? What would be the top 3 things that you would tell a sister, a single woman moving to Atlanta, right, to protect them and to make sure that they don't go down that quote-unquote dark road that a lot of people go down, where they get burnt out, turned out, and sent packing?
The advice would be the opposite of what every other woman is doing. Everybody got the BBL and the 30-inch bust down where your real hair and your real body work out.
Right.
Because visually, he got to see you look different than other people first. Because otherwise, if a man looking for a wife moves expediently. A man looking for a wife, he's also scared. He's also tired of wasting his money on dates for hookah and lemon pepper and down Julio. He's tired. Every day is 150, 250. He's exhausted.
Right.
He don't want to waste his time either. So the next advice I would give is focus on what you desire, not on focus on the man. A lot of women, I want him.
Right.
No, I want marriage. I want stability. I want commitment.
Right.
The man that's for you fits in there. Whoever the man is, he'll fit in there.
Right.
He'll lead you there. A lot of women come to Atlanta and get focused on, I want him.
Right.
You can't do that. We're not, we as women, we told we're in control of anything. We ain't in control of anything but ourselves. So a lot of women mess up here by also competing with other women. Okay? The competition is hard here.
Right.
You don't compete with no one. I always leave a man to you to go and go deal with the 30-inch bust downs and the that's up to you.
Right.
Okay? So I would say don't get discouraged by the competition. There is no competition. When you're a wife, there's no competition. Women are not breaking their necks like they sleep with one man, sleep with him and rub his feet. They're not doing that. So don't let the man, kind of like push you into that place of I gotta compete with these girls. No, there's no wives out here. The next thing I would say is no sex. No sex. Wherever a man gets sex at is where he stops. Once he gets sex, I'm good. Whatever I did was enough. That's it.
Hold on. This is the land of our first date is for blue red chicken wings lemon peppers at Magic.
All flat.
So you like, you know what? I want to see if this brother got some what the young people call Riz. The Riz. So I'm gonna go to Magic with him to first see if he's really outside like that. And then I want to see how he moves around beautiful women. This move was shown to me by a few women. They was like, yeah, I be taking the dudes to the strip club because I want to see how they operate around. I want to see if he's a cornball. I want to see how they operate in those environments, and I want to know if they live like that. If they, if their community, they know every goddamn stripper in there, then that's red flag. So, and then the culture, outside of stripper culture, the culture in Atlanta is a very fast culture. It's a hit and run culture. So how would you justify that mind state of no sex?
That's a man that's looking for a wife, he's probably wants that.
Right.
I see brothers like, if a woman ever like told me no or made it hard on me, I might take them serious. But they all fall.
Right.
You take them out with a nice car, have a nice apartment, they suck a dick on their I'm sorry, the floor is coming out. But some of the men, I think a man looking for a wife, he have a happy one, he's like, finally.
Somebody.
I think in his mind, if she wasn't able to fall for me and my BS to get some, she won't fall for another man trying to finesse her out and fall. I think that's what a man said, I can marry her, okay. I know because some girls are hoes because they're kind of slow, like they're kind of finessing to get on them.
Right.
So I think a man like when people like, no. Because then he feels, okay, I don't have to worry about her.
Right.
She feels my weak game, and she'll fall her anybody weak game, you know?
That's exactly what men think.
Yeah.
That's
They got-
exactly
no,
what men think.
absolutely.
Like, I remember when I was dating, you know, I would tell the woman that I was dating, like, you're not conceited enough. You show
She
your
don't know
teeth
who
to
she
too
is.
many people.
She don't know who she is.
I mean, you know, that could have been the case. You know
That's
what I
what
mean?
it is.
Yeah, that could have been the case. I don't know if people know this, but that's what I'm saying. The culture is tricking people because the culture is telling women that promiscuity is a badge of honor, right? Whereas men are looking at that. Well, real men, I would say, men who are looking for a wife, or men who may be looking to settle down. Because I can't say men and make a generalization, because all men are not created equal, and all men do not think the same, and all men are not on the same frequency, and all men are not dealing with, you know, levels of maturity. It varies, you know what I mean, as I'm sure with women. However, the culture is dictating that, you know, women being more promiscuity, you know, being more sexually liberated is a badge of honor, and it's a path to power, right? Now you have what is known as the red pill movement, where there's a lot of men, right? You have the incels, and then you have the red pill movement, and lately it's been getting very melanated. I remember when it first started out, it was a lot of European men.
Right.
Now it's been very melanated and whatnot. So there's resentment building. I hear it in the tone. There's like a resentment against women that are out here, what they call hoeing and whatnot. Then there's a resentment against women that seeing men as hoes. Oh, passport bros and da 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 da. And of course, there is what is known as a gender war brewing. Now this gender war is not just brewing. This gender war I've seen over the past 5 to 6 to 7 years begin to mushroom in a way where it's taking a life of its own, right? So I would love to know what would be one of your magic, like in a perfect world, what would be one of the solutions to pour a little bit of water on that fire of this gender war, where men are feeling like, you know, women are not wholesome anymore, and they're not worthy of our protection, and these are not real women, and then the women are like, these are simps, these are not real men, you know what I mean? All of these different, quote unquote, talking points, right? What is a way to kind of like bury that hatchet?
Like I think what it's becoming is everyone's like, look at you. And everyone starts out on a negative mindset. I'm gonna assume the worst.
Right.
And I'm gonna have you sit and prove to me that it's not what my assumption of the worst. Nobody wants to love someone, feel like, oh my God, I'm gonna prove to you that I'm not, let's go into it as grown adults.
Right.
Why don't you go into it assuming the best? You know what I'm saying? So I think if people took more time for every complaint you have about somebody else,
Right.
and their tendencies, and this is my deal breaker, there's ones you have.
Right.
I think if more people took time to be more self-aware, their shortcomings,
Right.
they wouldn't be so dead set on the others of, you have this going on and you have that going on. So So I think humility in a way. Humble yourself. You know you should be there.
Right. Is that a form of rejection? Whereas
It's
you
distraction.
say
Like
distraction?
people who, you ever see, I call them stills. You're still struggling. You still mad. You talk to them today,
Right.
10 years from now, they in the same place.
Right.
Those are people who constantly look for flaws in others so that it can distract them from themselves.
Right.
I can't do this because my mama is like this. Or my daddy like this, so I can't. And they use other people as the reason of why they're not progressing. So I'm distracted. I think the constant desire to, this person is, y'all are like this. This is why I can't get a woman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The men are like this. This is why I can't get a man. Look at a man off.
Right.
It's a way to make you feel it's not me. But it is there.
Interesting. I want to pivot a little bit and venture forth into what we call the conscious community. I remember when I came into the community, we weren't promised anything, right? They didn't promise us a life. They didn't promise us a wholesome woman. They didn't promise us a happy life. It was assumed that when we got into this community, though, that was going to beat us at the door, right? Women were going to, we were going to meet our queens. We were going to be, we were going to be in this, healthy relationship. We were going to heal together. But I traveled a lot. I've been in many different states. I've been in many different communities of consciousness in many different states. And I begin to see the same thing time after time after time after time, that that's not the case. That people in this community are somewhat going through the same exact thing that people are going through in what they call the knuckle dragger community, or the 85ers. There's all these names and whatnot. So my question to you would be, what ever happened? Like, where did they drop the ball in this community to whereas healthy relationships, the affairs of the heart, healing, and all of these things are somewhat of a, it's not even being even addressed.
I think that somehow the conscious community became a structure-free community. Like somehow the conscious community turned into this place of no rules, no structure, no road.
Right.
And it just became a free-for-all.
Right. You put the word right out of my mouth.
Yeah, it just became a free-for-all. It just became do what you want. It became a do what makes you happy, live, laugh, love type of community.
Right.
We lost the structure.
Right.
I think if we were to get some type of order and structure, I think people need, especially women. Women do best in black and white. Women resent gray areas.
Right.
Women resent lack of rules. They'll never tell you that.
Right.
But they do. They resent lack of rules. They resent lack of guidance. And the constantly became this place of show up as you are, whoever you are, we accept you.
Right.
And it's like, no, we needed rules here. If you don't have rules and something to obtain, something to earn,
Right.
it causes people to just run amok. And I think that's what we are. Everyone do whatever they want.
What would you say would kind of fix that? Or begin to fix it? Like, what would be the band-aid that you would apply to that begin to heal?
I don't think you can. I think once people get a certain place that's a decision they've made, I think we just need a few people in the community to begin living your life in structure. That's the way to go.
Right.
You live your life in life. You live your life in life.
Right.
So there, y'all your prayers go to coming and going. I'm gonna be over here in the light. You're naturally gonna want to come in the light like me.
Right.
So I think the problem in the conscious community, too many are not married. They don't have any roles. They don't have any rules. So I think more of the people who have platforms in the community, go get married, go get some structure in yourself, and then naturally everyone's like, well, what I'm doing is not working for me. So I'm gonna go where the light is. He over here in the light, I wanna do what he's doing. We have to lead by example.
One of the biggest shifts that I saw personally when I was in New York is when the light brought polygamy to the community. Right? That was a huge shift in the community. I lost a relationship as a result of that. Because I kind of, as a result of wanting to be in a relationship, by being inspired by what he was doing, I'm coming home like, he's about banged up in here. But not dictating it, but I was planting those seeds. I was like, hey, have you ever heard of a sister wife? And my son's mother was like, what? What are your thoughts of polygamy in 2024? What works and what don't?
Why don't I see it?
They don't come outside.
I don't see it.
I heard they don't be coming outside. I heard they got it.
You know why?
I heard it's going down, but they just not
You know why
outside.
they don't come inside?
Well,
All girls ugly. I'm serious. I ain't never seen polygamy with like bad chicks. I'm serious. Like, I don't see polygamy with like, oh my God, he has 3 stunning. I'm talking about turning your head. I never see that. It's always women that's like, ugh.
right.
Because why would attractive women or some vulgar self? I ask brothers like, what's her incentive?
He's that nigga.
Many niggas are that nigga.
But I'm just saying.
Ratio.
There's not enough
Of
money.
men.
The thing with polygamy is this. I'm not completely against it.
Right.
What I think is you have to be socialized for polygamy. You can't go to a 35-year-old woman and say, oh, we're going to be polygamists. And there's no benefits to polygamy for the woman. There's really none. Unless a man had a surplus. In my opinion, polygamy is for men with so much money and resources to where he has such a surplus to where it would be selfish of me to only give all this money and resource land to one woman. That is not the case.
So somebody with a long PPP loan?
No, I'm talking about, no, I ain't talking about PPP loan or PP. But somebody that has a good PP, like, oh, many women need this PP. No, they don't. I would say polygamy is for men who have surplus. Today, everyone is very men.
Well, there's a lot of brothers from the continent, Nigeria, Ghana, who brought their culture to Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, right? You know where they roam, Atlanta, Houston, and other places. And Muslim brothers from the Muslim Brotherhood, right? Their culture, where they come from, the way that they were reared and whatnot, right? Versus what American men may be going through. They are like, look, this is what we do. So they're bringing their culture into our culture. Even before this thing with the conscious community and polygamy, there was polygamy going down in the quote unquote, in Atlanta on the scene with a lot of African brothers. So what about that?
I feel like I can stay on that with you. Okay.
Let's go.
I don't want to stay.
All right.
There's no nice way for me to say that.
Okay, no problem.
I have love for the Muslim brothers. I respect them. I don't want to say that. All I say is talk to the kids.
And that is something, I'm glad you said that. Because that is really where you can assess success.
Kids will say,
Somebody asked me before, what is my definition of success? I said, if your children love you. We don't got to, and respect you. We don't have to go too deep with it. Because they love you when they're young and, before puberty, everybody loves you. But, when I look around, especially with the leaders and their children, or when you look around at the celebrities and their children, or you look around with these quote-unquote people that made it and their children, it's like, why the hell do the children have such a disposition towards their provider or their paternal parent? Like, where's the animosity coming from? They provided them everything. They gave them King Harris. I'm thinking about his veneer. He's standing on business. And he disrespected both of his parents, regardless of, he embarrassed them. And it was like, damn, he was on TV, man. He was on VH1. Like, how bad can it be? So, I'm glad that you brought that. There's a lot of...
He got other siblings.
He has other siblings.
Why they don't do that?
Maybe there's some sibling rivalry.
a white woman. First thought is to ring the alarm,
Right,
play the victim, put everybody on my side.
right.
This is why a mixed woman got a black woman. Because now her white mother is, I'm going to grandma's house. This ain't big mama grandma. See, T.I. other kids don't do that.
Right.
Because their mothers are pretty black. When they went to their grandma's house on her son's side, it was big mama. King went to a parent. And that's why he handles his, who air out their family business on live stream.
Right.
Who does what black kids do? You don't really see famous black kids are not doing that. It's when you're spend all your time with your white friend. And that's why the mixed thing is very dangerous. So the grandparents now they happy over the dinner table is those people.
How much would you say social media, because this is a new phenomenon, because you brought up the fact what black kids don't do, and I'm like, shit, this new TikTok generation, this new blended society that we're in, right? This new society where they're heavily influenced by people from all different cultures, they're a little different. I'm seeing little children throw shit at their moms and do all kind of white boy shit that I've never saw before. They saying they cursing them out, they telling them no, they slamming things, throwing things. They're doing what we saw white kids in the mall, right? How would you say, and I'm not just gonna pin it on social media, but I would just say that in the past 10 to 20 to 30 years, right, with quote unquote teenagers having teenagers, things have shifted quite a bit. What would you say, I mean like a percentage, like how far have we shifted as a culture in, let's say, the past 30 years as a result of both social media, hip hop becoming pop culture, the influence, the negative influence of such, you know, different subcultures becoming pop culture, like hoe culture, stripper culture, prostitute culture, all of that is now pop culture, right? That comes from places like that, okay? It was not popular culture before, it wasn't accepted. It was an underground type of thing, it was a subculture. So I would ask you, to what degree have things changed in your lives?
I don't think it's changed. I think that kids now they can stand up for themselves. I think that like me as the millennial generation, like my parents were learned and it was a I am you because I love you. And I need you because I'm gonna meet you before someone else can.
Right.
You're meant to be seen, not heard.
Yes.
And what I think is that Gen Z is saying we're not going. We're not doing it. I think
Right.
that Gen Z will call you out. I have a Gen Z son.
Right.
And though he is absolutely incredible, if I'm ever playing, he don't mind all the time. If I'm ever hypocritical, he'll feel like, what you did.
Right.
But I let him do that. I let him speak it. I don't train him to where he can't ever tell no woman she's wrong. I let him tell me when I'm wrong.
That's right.
And one thing about Gen Z, they talk. Because back in my day,
Right.
I had to, if my parents made me upset, I had to just take the hit
That's
out.
right.
Who could you talk to about it? And
Right.
anyone you do this, do your daddy, that's do your mama. Gen Z now, they go to TikTok. So
Right.
it's the same thing, they just have more of a platform to let it be known. Like parents are theirs, so these kids, they're not taking it. And I'm actually glad about that.
Well, what I'm saying is, they're putting them on blast, like King Harris is his people. They're talking, they're making like TikToks.
But see, I was speaking more so celebrity black children.
Right.
You know their parents have a name. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Keisha talking about her mom on TikTok to 10 followers is not the same
That's
as
right.
King talking about T.I. online.
Right.
You typically don't see celebrity black children.
That's a fact.
But if the kids, they will do it. But they talking about their mama that work in HR. They're not talking about one of the most prominent rappers. But it's the same thing. They just more vocal and more comfortable to talk on how we treat them as they should.
Right. So I was watching and you know, I've been paying attention to some of the chatter going on about the female rappers beefing and whatnot. And you know, that's becoming one of those hot button topics. And it's highlighting the fact that there's a huge pop culture, I would say pop culture, to whereas women artists have a greater quote unquote stage now. They're front and center now. And it seems like the males are playing more of a background role, right? In pop culture. So pop culture is Beyonce, pop culture is like Spice, pop culture is all of that together. It's popular culture. It's the music that you would hear in the elevator.
Okay.
Before hip hop became pop culture, you wouldn't hear it in the elevator because once they title it pop culture, that's the shit you hear in a restaurant. That's the shit you hear in the elevator. That's the shit that you hear in like old folks' home. You feel me? It ain't supposed to be playing. They're not supposed to be playing Sexy Red in the elevator, but it's pop culture.
Okay.
So my question to you would be is, what is your take on the state of pop culture right now?
I feel like you think that pop culture and hip hop culture. Do you think that pop culture and rap culture is different? Because to me, pop culture, I'm thinking Taylor Swift.
Right. Right.
I don't know. I would say this. I would say that.
I would say that, I'm sorry, cut you. I would say that there's people in hip hop that get elevated into pop star status or popular culture. Everybody's not necessarily, Christian like that, but hip hop is popular music until they remove it. Right? So, henceforth why Taylor Swift is hanging out with an Ice Spice. You know what I'm saying? It's still, she's part of pop culture now. Not just a regular hip hop artist. She's
Okay.
now elevated into a pop culture
Oh, okay.
status.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I think I'm disconnected to pop culture. I don't know if I know enough about it. But what I will say is, to me, it's on the forefront. So to me, it allows people to compare any kind of, popular culture allows people to compare their reality to that fantasy.
Right.
So I think that, of course, in some way, every parent should know, I don't care how much you're hands-on with your kids, how much you do with your children, the outside culture will always have some sort of effect on it. So I'll say, I think more parents should be aware of what's going on so that you can guide them in it as opposed to trying to think that you're gonna actually shield them from it. That's not gonna happen. Talk to them about it. Talk to them about, what it is, what the consequences of it are, why they're doing what they do. I'll say be more open about it, but for me, it's tapping on top with your family. You don't tap with people in real life.
Okay, that's interesting that you said that. So you're encouraging a mother to basically, sit down and listen to some parties
Yeah.
together.
Talk
You know
to them
what I
about
mean?
it. They're gonna hear it.
That's gonna hear it
I don't
anyway.
care who people, I don't care, I'm gonna homeschool, but I don't care about that, it's never gonna happen. They're going to have outside influence, let's just be
Right.
real,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
It's going to happen. But if you forbid it, never talk about it, now they hear it and they take their own interpretation, as
Okay.
opposed to letting you be in there and know what's going on.
Right.
And having a, honey, their job is to promote harmful behavior or destructive behavior. Talk to them about it.
Interesting. So you're basically saying to kind of like dilute the impact of that pull, right? By explaining it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I can get with that.
Celebrities are not talented. The most talented people are not famous. These are the people, and they take something from you to make sure that you're invested in this. And whatever agenda we want to promote, you're going to do it.
Right.
You're going to put yourself aside, put your dignity aside, whatever you need to do, you'll do it. That's what becomes famous. And make sure your kids understand that. It's not about talent. Talented people be on the underground, but you don't even hear them.
How would a mother explain home culture to her daughter versus?
That's a scam.
No, I'm just saying, versus the liberation of, a divine femininity versus home culture. How would a mother explain that to her teenage daughter?
She has to explain it as an MLM scam. She has to explain it as if you really want power,
Right,
once a man sees what you he has accomplished.
right,
He's seen every part of you, you're conquered.
right.
It's a mental illness to think, if I sleep with him, I'm empowered, honey, you're conquered once that matter what the man's intentions are after he conquers you that way, only gonna go ahead and put his flag and settle there. But I think if we explain to your daughter, men regenerate sperm every day, millions. Your body, it doesn't work that way. The day you're born, whatever eggs you're born with, you keep. You don't get to regenerate that. Your body is sacred. And a lot of us were not taught that. And I think if a lot of people explain your anatomy to your daughters.
Right.
How many girls end up turning 30, 35 and don't even know what all their parts are from? Don't even understand how their body works. Your daughter has to understand how her body works, and she has to understand what sex means to a man. Not what it means to her. To her, I mean, I love Hannah, we're together. No. Talk to her about the man's point of view.
What if mommy is not capable of doing that? What if mommy is not quote unquote that intelligent? What if mommy speaks a whole nother language? She comes from a whole nother culture, right? I'm from New York. It's a melting pot. And I saw how the first generation children were being eaten up by cultures that they were not familiar with. Like Haitians, Africans, Jamaicans, you know, they were almost like almost like food. Because the American culture, people knew how to get, the young women, they were like food because they were entering into a culture that they knew nothing of, right? They were coming from other cultures where they were taught to do certain things and move certain ways, and then they got into our culture and they would get eaten alive by people who knew how to get over on the women who didn't know how to speak. You know, it was like, it was assumed that they were easier to trick than other women.
Now see, I thought it was the other way around. Typically those women, their fathers pick a husband for them. Typically, they're taught to be wives. Typically, family is promoted those women.
The family was promoting it, but they did not have their family inside of junior high school with us. There was a hierarchy. There was a food chain inside of school. You know what I mean? There was the famous kids, there was the cool kids, there was the athletes, then there was people that started getting money. That's when drug dealers really started picking up, right? So there was the Maximas and the Ultimas outside and the Acura Legends and dudes pulling up with the Gucci links. Them young girls was food. Because mommy, it was a little more stricter in Haitian households and as it was in other households. So they were forbidden everything was forbidden. So those forbidden fruits were being eaten when the mother was at work. You feel me?
Okay. This is new to me, I'm learning. I grew up around a lot of black people from the diaspora as well, being from Florida. I grew up all Jamaicans, Haitians. But from what I see, they had families that were all in their business.
Right.
Like the Haitian girls, African girls, they come home, their parents empty out their backpack,
Oh,
they
yes,
see
yes,
everything
yes,
they do.
they ended.
I didn't see that. I saw that more so in the Black American systems.
Right.
Because most of Black Americans who didn't have a father in the home.
And that was the question that I was going to divert to. What about the sister who might not have the parental figures? Is there an outlet that she could go to get that divine wisdom that she may be missing? Where there's a woman who's not related to her who would teach her about her body parts. Because my generation, the generation that precedes me, and the generation that precedes me up into this generation, their sexual education is pornography.
Okay.
And now you have pornography in the music and things of that nature, but they didn't get sexual education about the more intricate things of, you know, how sacred your body is and things of that nature.
Okay. Unfortunate. She had to learn.
So you're saying if the parents are not capable, if the mother is not quote unquote aware that the daughter's gonna suffer in this world.
Women carry on the dysfunction of their mom. Whatever your mom did, you do. That's how it goes. So most of the time you see a girl like that, her mother got God. So she's destined to get God. Because most moms won't look at their daughter and say, I fucked up. Most daughters will not do that. They'll say, I was fine, you be fine too. That's what they tell them. So unless your mom will look at you and say, I fucked up, you'll do the same thing she did. The question is, will you learn from it or will you down the hill like your mama did? You know, most women's first enemy is her mom. So, you know, that's why I do what I do now. I have girls where I talk to them about that young girl and try to be that for them. But my reach can't reach with so much. The average girl who doesn't have that at home, she'll have it on the front. But hopefully she learn and not repeat the cycle or get used to that cycle or get comfortable in that cycle. Or she'll meet the right man. Some women get lucky and the first man you run into, that's your one. And he don't take advantage of you. He marry you, he dies you. So either she happen to run into the right guy early, or she'll have to learn the hard way. That's why we gotta encourage our sons. Let me just say this real quick. That's why women, we have to nurture our sons more. I'll kiss them and hug them. It's like, stop kissing on that woman. Why?
Right.
Because do you know how many men are sleeping with woman after woman? Because he's looking for a real nurturing. They get the nurturing between her legs. He wanna feel like this as a grown man, and he think he gonna do that by sleeping with multiple women. He missing that from childhood. So love on your son, perfection. Same with a girl. That's what a girl's when she has a father that provides for her and does for her. These guys won't be able to impress her. This ain't for a boy. Love on your sons. We not a grown man, a slave to his penis, sleeping with multiple women, hoping to feel nurtured, waiting to feel comfortable.
Is there such a thing as a smother?
No. When he gets to a certain age, you pull back and let him come to you when it's not a smother.
At what age would a woman and her male child, in your opinion, at what age does the father take that child and rear him?
It's steps. You don't do it overnight because it traumatizes a child. So when a child is young, ideally, you have both parents interact. It should always be both parents.
All the time.
When they hit 13, that's the rites of passage. You have to set in his mind now you're a man. But a man at 13. At 13, you're a man. But grown men still want to be held and hugged. So you should still hold and hug your son. My son, probably once every 2 months, he'll just come lay with me. And I'm glad he come get that from me instead of having to sleep with every girl in his school, hoping to feel that I can feel that from my mom. Y'all can't impress me. Y'all have to be like my mama or better for me to even look her way. You know, so I wish we would give that same reinforcement to boys as we do to girls. A man do all this for his daughter. Like, oh yeah, no man will impress her, and then women just neglect their sons, talking about let him be a man. No, love on him too. Make it hard for a woman too. My mama was that girl for you. You want that for your son.
I think in the past 20 years, 10 years, there's been a dichotomy where mothers and daughters have become more of a, you can't tell the distinction, right? So you could go to the club and see a mother and a daughter in the club together. We didn't see that back in the day, right? So this is somewhat of a new phenomenon. My question to you, is that more of a positive? Because you brought up the fact of mothers being jealous of their daughters, right? And that means something that, a lot of people have experienced in life. That's that sabotage thing. That sabotage who are you? You know what I mean? So is that a good thing now that the mothers are becoming more closer? They listen to the same music. They shop at the same stores. They might even be into the same men and whatnot. Is that a positive or negative in your eyes?
Because two women in the same club are competition. Two single women in the same club are competition. And what happens is the mother, she's not able to differentiate. She see a guy and she's like, ooh, keep on.
Right.
And he like, you're the one.
Right.
And now, inevitably, because women naturally are catty and competitive like that.
Right.
We as women, as being the physically weaker species, we fight here, which means lies, manipulation, okay? So when you have two women, mother and daughter, and the man she sees, she's like, no honey, you 45, look at your daughter that's 25. Naturally, that will make her have a certain element. And that's why the older women give the young girls bad advice. Let me turn you into me, so you ain't better than me. So they naturally coddle women in their bad behavior, because I don't want you being better than I am. And this man I like, he's gonna be trying to call you.
You know who I automatically defer to? Ronnie from Players Club. Remember what Ronnie was doing?
She was getting all of them to do the same thing.
She was sabotaging Lisa Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah. In my humble opinion, she was lining her up.
And, Ebony.
She lined her up.
Ebony said, I just came to dance. Why did Ebony like that?
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah. Let me destroy you, so you ain't ready for me. I'm trying to get that man.
So, this has been a great, we about to take a little break. It's definitely been a beautiful, clap it up, y'all, please. We just had a great. Thank you for your answers and whatnot. When we do come back from the break, I do want to hear from our beautiful audience. You feel me? I know I'm speak real quick into the Zoom audience, and I saw that they may have some questions.
Okay.
So we will get to some of the questions. Let me see what time we on. Okay, so we good. We on time. We got 9 o'clock.
Okay.
We're going to take a 10-minute break. Please respect the time. I know some of us are on, our own dimensional time zones and whatnot. But in 10 minutes, just to keep in line with the audience that are out there, we're gonna come right back. I encourage y'all to go and get something to eat.